Hello, hello, you guys. Welcome to Slope Part 2. In our last lesson, we learned how to find the slope of a line by graphing the line, picking 2 points on the line, and then counting the vertical change over the horizontal change, and then that gives us a slope. Today, we're going to talk about how to find the slope of a line using the slope formula. Okay, so instead of having to graph the line and count, we're going to use this formula right here. And in order to use this formula, all we need is 2 points that are on the line. Remember in the last lesson I told you that in algebra, mathematicians have chosen the alphabet letter M to represent slope. So let me explain this formula to you, and then we are going to apply it to find the slope of each of these lines. So in this formula, you write this formula just like it is, okay? It's a formula for finding slope. Instead of the y2, that is the y from our second point. Instead of the y1, that is the y from our first point, okay? So if we take the y2 minus y1, that gives us our vertical change. That gives us our change in the y-axis, okay? For this part of the formula, the x2 is the x of our second point, and the x1 is the x of our first point. So when we have line A here, we're going to call this our first point, and this our second point, okay? And in order to find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points, we're going to use the slope formula. So let's go ahead and label this x as x from the first point. Okay, and this coordinate right here, the 1, is the y of our first ordered pair, okay? When we look at the coordinate 1, 2, this is the x of our second ordered pair, and this is the y of our second ordered pair, okay? So once we have labeled everything, now it's really easy to plug into our formula, okay? So the slope is going to be equal to y2 minus y1. So our y2, that's just the y of our second ordered pair. So that is 2. And then we have a subtraction sign, and then we have our y of our first ordered pair, or our y1. So that's a 1. Over, now we're going to do the change in x. So we do our x2, so our x of the second ordered pair, minus the x of our first. Okay, so now watch how this works. So x of our second ordered pair is 1, and then we have a minus sign, right? In our formula, it's x2 minus x1. And because the x of our first ordered pair is a negative 2, this is going to become 1 minus a negative 2, okay? Now we just need to simplify this. 2 minus 1 is 1. And 1 minus a negative 2, whenever you have 2 negatives right in a row, that becomes an addition. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points is 3. And we found that by using the slope formula, which in all honesty, the slope formula is way easier than graphing a line and counting. So let's go ahead and find the slope for line B. So in order to do this, let's first label our points. So 3, 2, this is going to be the x of our first ordered pair, the y of our first ordered pair. This is going to be the x of our second ordered pair, the y of our second ordered pair. And now we're just plugging into this formula. So slope is equal to y2. So that's the y of our second ordered pair, which in this case it is negative 2. Then in our slope we have a minus sign. So remember, we're using, in the formula we have a minus sign. We're using the formula just like it is. So minus, and then our y1, or the y of our first ordered pair, is 2. Over our x2, which is 3, minus our x1, which is 3. So that gives us a -2 plus a -2 is a -4. And then 3 minus 3 is 0. So this time we have -4 divided by 0. And if you remember from yesterday, anytime you have 0 under your fraction, your slope is undefined. Okay, so this means that if we were to graph this line, we would find out that it was a vertical line. Okay, let's go ahead and do line C. I think the trickiest part about this is just making sure that you label your points from the beginning. Okay, so for line C, point 1 has an x coordinate of -3. Okay, so this is the x coordinate of our first point and the y coordinate of our first point. This is the x coordinate of our second point, the y coordinate of our second point. So now slope is going to be equal to y2, okay, which is 3. And then we have our subtraction sign, and then we have y1, which is 4, over our x2, which is 0, minus, so notice that it's x2 minus, and then our x1 is a -3. So we're going to end up having 0 minus a -3. Okay, now when we simplify this, 3 plus a -4 is -1. 0 minus -3 really becomes 0 plus 3. So the slope of this line is -1/3. Okay, let's do one more. Line D. Let's first label our points. This is the x of our first ordered pair, the y of our first ordered pair. This is the x of our second ordered pair, the y of our second ordered pair. So to find slope, we do y2, which is -5, minus y1, which is -5, over x2, which is -4, minus x1, which is 0. So -5 minus a -5, this really becomes -5 plus 5, which is a 0, over -4, okay? Anytime we divide 0 by something, the answer is 0. So the slope of this line is 0. That means it has no steepness at all. And remember, if a line has a slope that's 0, we know that is going to be a horizontal line. Okay, you guys, so that is how you find slope using the slope formula. So for this independent practice, I am going to do 3 of them. I'm going to do 1, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to have you guys do 2, 3, and 6 on your own. Okay, so let's go ahead and do number 1 together. We are finding the slope of the line that passes through the 2 points using the slope formula. Okay, so remember our slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So first step is to label our points. This is our first point, so this is our x of our first point, the y of our first point. This is the x of our second point, the y of our second point. So now, the y2 minus y1. Sorry, and I ran out of space here. So y2 is 6 minus our y1, which is -3. So 6 minus -3 is really going to become 6 plus +3. Okay, so our change in y is going to be 9. Our change in x, well, let's see. Our x2 is -1 and our x1 is 5. So -1 minus 5 will be -6. So our change in x is -6. So 9 over -6. Now remember yesterday I told you that the best thing to do when you have slope is to simplify the fraction if it can be simplified. So we know that 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 6 negative 2 times. Okay, so we can actually simplify that slope as negative 3 over 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and do number, I can't remember which one I was going to do for you. I'm so sorry. So I'll do number 4. So this is our x1, y1. This is our x2, y2. So we're going to have 9 minus 4 over 2 minus negative 6. And this becomes a positive. 9 minus 4 is 5. So our change in y is 5. Our change in x is 8. So our slope is 5 over 8. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more together. Let's do number 6. So let's see, we did 1, we did 4, and now we're going to do 6. So remember, our slope formula is y from the second ordered pair minus y from the first over x from the second ordered pair minus x from the first. We plug into this formula just like it is. We are just replacing this y and this y with the y from our second ordered pair and the y from our first. And we're replacing this x and this x with the x from our second ordered pair and the x from our first. So let's go ahead and label our 2 points here. This is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. Okay, so here we go. 10 minus 3 over 1 minus a negative 5. And be very careful when this coordinate is a negative. Don't forget that you're going to have your minus sign, and then you have to have your negative 5. Okay, because that makes this a positive 6. So 10 minus 3 is 7, so our change in y is 7. 1 plus 5 is 6, so our change in x is 6. So then our slope is 7 over 6. Voila! That is how you find slope using the slope formula. That was kind of a short lesson, right? So I'm going to leave you guys questions 2, 3, and 5 to do for your quiz. And then there also is an extra credit assignment. This is the first extra credit assignment we've ever had in this class, but I thought it was a fun assignment, and for a little incentive for you, I'm going to give you some bonus points for doing it, okay? So if you look on right here, we have a mini murder mystery straight line graphs. And this says, one of the following 6 people has murdered one of the others. Each has made 4 statements about these 2 graphs. The murderer has made 3 errors, the victim made 0 errors, and the other suspects made 1 or 2 errors. So you have to go through each one of the people in this murder mystery, and then you have to look at the clues that they listed. So Claire says line 1 is steeper than line 3. Slope of line 3 is 0.5. So she says the slope is 1/2. She says that 1, 0 is on line 3 and that 2, 3 is on line 1. So you have to check each of these 4 clues, and you have to see how many of these are correct and how many of them aren't, okay? And you're going to do that for each person that's in this murder mystery, and you have to figure out who committed the murder and who was the victim. Okay, so remember the murder has made 3 errors. So was that Claire, Lucy, Duncan, or Jack? You have to figure out which one of these has made 3 errors in the clues that they presented. The victim made 0 errors. And then the other suspects made either 1 or 2 errors. Okay? So with that said, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Remember that your note guide is in the course under linear relationships and then slope and this is slope part 2. Okay, so I will see you in class. If you're having any questions about this, please make sure that you ask for some help in class or in Math Lab. And I will put together an assignment box for the extra credit assignment as well. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and do that bonus assignment, you can do that. And I will hopefully see you soon.